Hola, everybody.
In your face, bitches. Okay. What up?
We are back.
Chase. We're 50 Cent. 50 Cent, that's Tupac. Hey! My obnoxious dog is going to die. Anybody want some dog?
No.
I'll send him to you in a little box.
What that guy is trying to say is we are half of Late Night Snacks.
We're 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm. I am DeWanda. Then we also have that guy. Tonight we are going to be talking about animated features.
Yeah, just to recap really quick, in case this is your first time joining us since we started this little series, we are covering the Oscars. We're covering 100% of the films nominated this year for Academy Awards. That includes all of the documentaries, animated shorts, and all the technical awards. We are doing, like I said, 100%.
Yes.
Of the films nominated. So we're chunk of the way through. Viewing wise, we're well over half the way through now.
Yeah, we're a little bit over half.
We're trying to stay ahead of our own game with streaming, so we can get you guys at least some informed information about each one of these films.
All right.
Who's we got in the house?
We got Chase Dyer is in the house.
Chase Dyer's in the house.
And we also have Blaze is in the house as well.
Blaze, what up, Blaze?
What up? Okay.
Tonight we're doing most of the animated features. And when I say most of, we are leaving one film out on purpose. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about the films nominated this year, you probably would have guessed it right from the start. But we are leaving Flea out of this category for now. We'll talk about Flea later on in our coverage, because Flea is an extremely different film than these animated films. It is animated, so it is nominated in the animated feature, but it is not a light film. It's actually a documentary. It's a real life documentary, and we'll talk about it later. It's deep.
It's not family oriented. Let's just say that.
It's a guy's life, and it's harsh, and it's amazing. So we'll talk about Flea when we get to the documentaries. We're going to put that there. The other ones are the other 4 animated features that are nominated this year. And ironically, there is a little bit more of a kind of race going on here than just Disney films or our typical animation films. Is one of these films has Lin-Manuel Miranda's nomination for Best Song, that's Encanto, and that is his only nomination this year, which is really surprising that he didn't get nominated for In the Heights as director or as anything for In the Heights or for Tick Tick Boom. So Lin was all over the map again this year and got one song nomination, and I think they picked the wrong song. We'll talk about it. But he's up for an EGOT this year. The EGOT is one of the most prestigious awards that you can win in the entertainment industry. And if you don't know what an EGOT is you have an award in each of the big major film or major award ceremonies. You have an Emmy, which is TV. You have a Grammy, which is music, an Oscar, which is what we're talking about, film, and a Tony, which is Broadway. Lin has 3 of the 4. If he wins this year on his Oscar, he will be an EGOT winner. There's a selected few members of that actually have EGOTs. Like Whoopi Goldberg is an example. I forget. There's a list of them. There's probably 20 or 30 people around that have EGOTs. But anyway, Lin will inevitably get his EGOT either this year or next or shortly soon, because it's the only one he needs. It's not going to be difficult for him to get it now. Usually it is the Tony or the Grammy that holds people up for an EGOT, not the Oscars. They usually knock the Oscars and the Emmys out pretty quickly, but this year it just happens to be Lin is winning on the Oscar. Tonys tend to be the tough one, the Broadway one, because it's so selective. But anyway, it's a lot of writers get EGOTs, a lot of directors, the producers and stuff get EGOTs because they kind of cover the glamour. But Lin is a multiple threat, and we'll see if he wins. I don't think he will, which is a bummer for me because I'm a huge Lin-Manuel fan. But we'll talk about when we get into the music category later on in our coverage. our series, we'll talk about why we don't think Lynn will be winning that award. Are we even doing a music category?
I believe we are, but I have to go back and look at our list.
I don't think so. Now that I think about it, we're doing a musical category. We'll talk about it. We'll put it in there.
When we
talk
get
about
into our musical category, we'll talk about that.
So not tonight. Anyway, he is nominated for a song, the end credits song for Encanto, but we will be talking Encanto tonight. So why don't the animated films, the feature films nominated this year are Encanto, Raya and the Last Dragon, Luca, and the Mitchells vs. the Machine. 3 of them Disney, 2 of them not, including Flea. Mitchells vs. the Machine is a Sony's picture, which is by the same guys who did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Lord and Miller, who are going to be putting up a big competition this year. I think that the Academy likes Lord and Miller stuff as far as animation goes, and it's different. It's very different from the other stuff. And depending on how Flea runs for its documentary bid for an award, I think Flea could actually take this entire category. Just because of the type of film that it is. But anyway, so let's talk about each one of the films. Let's go. We'll start with Raya, since I saw that a while back. I actually saw that when it first came out on streaming. So I'm kind of amiss what I remember. Yeah. I just remember that the dragon, who I remember was informed tonight, was played by Awkwafina, who we were just talking about the other night for Shang-Chi. And she's great. In this movie, she's hilarious too. This dragon is stupid funny. So go ahead.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I had not seen it until just recently. The animation on it is incredible. Obviously, Awkwafina completely shines in this film. The story is basically their entire village turns to stone, and they have to basically put all of the dragons back together in order to break the spell to make everybody come back to life again. So that's pretty much what is going on throughout the movie. They're trying to put this orb back together that was broken up into 5 different pieces, and each part of the tribe, each tribe has 1 piece, and Raya has to go and get those pieces back in order to put it back together in order to break the spell. That's basically what the story is.
Yeah, it's a typical Disney film as far as you got your young, protagonist is a heroine or hero, and they're doubting themselves, doubting their own self-will, and they got to rise above to do what they need to do. And they, there's a sidekick, and the dragon here just happens to be the sidekick, and it's cute. It's really cute. Does it have a chance to win the Academy Award? And not a chance in hell.
No, but it is worth the watch. I do recommend it.
Yeah, this one will not be our winner this year. This is a category I'd actually bet on. Not gonna happen. But it's kind of follows in the veins of Moana and stuff like that. I guess this would be classified as one of your Disney princess films. I think it's in that.
It's vein. In that vein, but I'm not really sure she would. I'm not really sure that Raya would fit as an actual princess.
Yeah, but they've been including all those young heroines in the princess category, like Moana and etc. So I believe it is part of that entry. Of that whole thing. It's Disney animation. It's not Pixar. It's Disney animation, just like Encanto, and I believe Encanto is another one that's going to go into princess category. I believe, because of I forget her name. Jesus, what's her face from Beverly Hills 90210? Andrea. She's going to be classified.
Gabrielle Carteris.
Huh?
Gabrielle Carteris.
Well, that's who this little girl reminds me of.
Yeah, I know. She does.
Yeah.
She totally does.
She looks just like her. So yeah, moving on to Encanto. Sorry. Encanto is Disney animation as well. I think is going to fall in veins with the Disney princess films. This one I really, really enjoy because this one is original. Finally, we have an original film that is not really taking a page, prevented from anything else. It's the story is unique. The circumstances around the story are unique. Just there's the special effects. I just struck.
Yo,
Cool it, bullet.
Ah,
Bit Nuka right in the face. Anyway, so Encanto. Encanto is a kind of cultured fantasy. It deals with what country they say this is in.
It's basically they're they the matriarch as her grandchildren grow, they get to a certain age and they get to figure out what their gift is, and every member of the family.
You gotta go back a little bit more. It's the grandmother, the matriarch. She tells her story about how she first came to this area. She they were down and out, and they didn't have a home, and they were lost. They were cold and wet and hungry and scared, and a miracle happens through this candle. A miracle provides them with not only this house, this magical, beautiful house full of love and family, but also it's kind of its surroundings. And as the years go and the magic continues and the candle still burns, the town like grows and the population grows and the family grows larger, and it's all looked up to this one matriarch who was the original wife of the original guy who found the candle to create this miracle. And the miracle is that every year when another child comes of age, which I don't remember what the age of the little kids, so it looked like they were young.
I think they're like maybe 8.
Yeah, they're young,
like
but
they're younger.
When they come of age, they take the candle, or by the magic of the candle, they go up to a door. They use the candle, I guess, to light their way, and the candle gives them a power. If the door opens, the candle emits its magic or whatever, and inside the door is the illumination of their power, I guess. It kind of shows what they're now part of their village, what they're now capable of doing, and how that's going to, affect them and affect their little town. And we get to actually see this happen with the little boy, Antonio. He's actually like a cousin, I believe, of our main protagonist. I think her name is Miranda. I don't remember her. Maribel, is it?
Maribel. It's Maribel.
She takes care of him. Kind of they're like really bonded. And
he's a cousin, actually.
Yeah, cousin of some sort. Yeah, and she's. So we're watching his journey go through this, and he goes in there, and he can talk to the animals, and the animals can communicate back to them and use the animals for help and for guidance and all this. So he goes into this like jungle forest and meets all the animals. So you see all the magic happen with the with the door. And then we learned that Maribel, our protagonist, when she came of age and she went through the door, she did not receive a gift. She received no magic. And was a huge disappointment to her family. Was always almost they didn't shun her, but they kind of
treat her differently.
They looked at it differently, and they were just like, kind of she's now in the way. Basically, one of those stories where they still love her, they still want her part of the family, but she's kind of in the way. And she also emits and makes herself feel unwanted. She wants to do everything. She tries to do everything. She tries to go above and beyond to be normal, and yet still she doesn't need a power because she's going to be special, and she just ends up being in people's way. She's got 2 sisters. They each have powers. She's got an extended family that all have powers. She learns of Bruno, and Bruno is an uncle, and the song Don't Talk About Bruno, or We Don't Talk About Bruno, whatever it's called, is like blown up all over the place. I mean, that song is gone viral. But basically what that is another family member who's been shunned, and he was shunned because he was supposedly bringing bad prophecies to people's lives and powers and all sorts of stuff. What he's saying is true, but basically he's just like a warning system. He's not, he's not doing any ill will to his family. She goes out to seek Bruno because it's another outsider, and by speaking all this truth and learning about this, for some reason the house starts falling apart and things go. And it's basically her power is she has to bring everybody back together. She needs to bring the family back together. She needs to make everybody realize that it's about family, not about power. I believe that was my interpretation that I got from it. And as soon as she can get them to understand the root of why they're there, what the miracle really is, and the miracle is love, the miracle is family. And once the family all are on the same place, and her grandmother are able to hug and see that, together, and then her and her sisters are able to hug it out and feel the warmth and the love to that, then then the house will be reborn and everything will be special again, and so it's really unique. It's really different.
My take on the film was this. It's a little bit different than what yours was. My take is that Maribel, the reason that she didn't get a power is because she's supposed to take over as the next matriarch of the family after Abuela is gone.
Probably, yeah.
So she's basically the one that is going to be watching over the family after Abuela's gone. So she's kind of moving into that matriarch area.
Yeah, but she still needed to bring for the house to repair. She had to bring them back together. She had to get everybody on the same page.
True, but basically, in order for that to happen, there has to be one person in the family that doesn't have power.
Yeah.
And she happens to be that person.
She was the one. She proved herself to be worthy of that matriarch standing or whatever. Yeah. She reunited Bruno with the family. She reunited the sisters. Now I forget, was the vision of her she was told a prophecy, you have to hug your sister in order for this to be okay. Was it the sister she had to hug, or was that she's seeing the grandmother at a younger age?
It ended up, actually, Bruno kind of messed it up a little bit. It's supposed to be because Abuela's passing the torch in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what happened was when the two of them hugged, that's the passing of the torch.
Yeah. So he saw the Abuela as a young woman.
Yeah, because
he thought it was the sister, not the grandmother.
Because he's one of triplets.
Yeah.
That originally began the story, and these are Abuela's children, and he was shunned for showing a different prophecy.
Yeah.
And this was able to bring him back into the fold of the family.
Yeah, he's cool. Bruno's cool. I mean, there's all sorts of powers that these people have. One is full of strength. Another one is a shapeshifter. One is just a beauty and brings love and light to people and
flowers everywhere.
Yeah, but it's interesting how everybody's purpose is not cut and dry. Is not exactly what their power is. There's reasons people have different powers, and there's reason people need to see each other for what they are on the inside, versus on the outside. So there's a lot of those old folklore kind of lessons to be learned in here if you really dissect the film, if you really get deep into it. But if you just take it on the surface level, it's one of those feel good films about family. It leaves you really, really, warm and fuzzy about family. This is the movie that Lynn has the song nominated for. It's the end credit song, which I think is a terrible nomination for him, because I don't think this end credit song, though culturally appropriate for the film, I think it really falls flat to the general audience, that it just doesn't follow through with the same emotion.
Yeah, but they didn't realize how well We Don't Talk About Bruno was gonna blow up.
Because We Don't Talk About Bruno is a very Lin song. It's an extremely Lin-Manuel Miranda song. I mean, you could hear it in the Heights. You could hear it in Hamilton. It's Lin to a T, and they should have known, but they didn't. And there you go.
As you guys can probably tell, we are huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fans here.
Very much so.
But
I don't think it's his year. Is this Encanto's year even, or is this even Disney's year? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Fleet's going to take this all the way around. But so we've got two from Disney Animation, two princess films from Disney Animation, both competing against each other. Encanto's way the better film. Encanto's way the more original film, and all that. So that is what it is. Okay. But then we get into Pixar's bout for film this year, and Pixar's hand in it is a film called Luca, which really went unnoticed, and that's a shame, because Luca is just like Encanto, completely off the table original. That's really ever been done. I mean, it's kind of got a little bit of a kind of a Little Mermaid twist to it, but that's not really what it's about. It's simple. It's a simple boy story. Boys want to go out on an adventure, and they want to see and ride and touch a Vespa, because this takes place in Italy.
That's all it is.
That's it. That. I mean, there's deeper things to it, but really the plot of the film, that's it. These boys happen to be monsters, sea monsters. They're not mermaids. They're sea monsters. They turn into like the Loch Ness monster, or cause everything. And there's a whole culture under the water, just like in Little Mermaid and all that stuff. But ironically, that doesn't really play into the central part. It plays into a part about their fear of the land, their fear of the unknown, their willingness to face their fears and move forward. It deals with kind of family issues about why would you dare, put yourself in danger for that. But you could put these two boys in any life circumstance of normal boys testing the waters and going out of their way to go on their own little, boys' adventure, and it would be the same story. It would be the same thing. So they're underwater creatures that was just like a symbolism or an allegory to the bigger, larger world or the bigger, larger sea. It's just a neat kind of visual effect. But that wasn't the story. The story was they wanted to go ride a Vespa.
Well, yeah, that was the main story. And then when Luca got onto the actual land, he met some people, and he basically decided that he really wanted to go to school. He wanted to learn more things because he was just fascinated by it, but there was no way that he could because everybody was afraid of sea monsters and everything is about all of that. So there was that part, and the whole idea for the boys getting the Vespa was they had to win this race.
Yeah.
In order for that to happen. So
it's cute.
It's a really cute movie. Some of the cast that is involved in it is Jim Gaffigan plays the voice of the father. So, and he's actually one of my favorite comedians ever. So I was very excited about that. And then Maya Rudolph is the mother, in case you didn't know that.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's great. So the voice cast is incredible. And they did an amazing job. It's sad that this one kind of went under the radar.
Really went under the radar. It's Pixar's just, ever since COVID, and they've been premiering all their Pixar films straight to Disney Plus and not having a big promoted theatrical release with the whole promotion behind it. Like this one had, this one was set for a big typical Pixar feature film in the summer. It had McDonald's Happy Meal toys. It had this big thing, but without it being in the theater, because these aren't even released in the theater. I don't think were they? They're straight to Disney Plus, straight to home release.
Straight to Disney Plus, basically.
And this has been Onward, Soul, and Luca have all had the same treatment, and all three of them have just kind of
they've gone under the radar.
Whereas you think of Pixar, you think of every single Pixar film you've ever known has been like huge monumental change, in Disney. It's like everybody knows, Buzz and Woody, and everybody knows, Nemo and Dory and Up and Wall-E and Pixar. All of these characters become staples in Americana. Last three, not so much. Onward is my favorite Pixar film of all time, and you talk about Onward, somebody that don't even know what you're talking about. Soul, I still don't freaking understand. I just don't get it.
I don't understand it either. It's a really great film, but I just don't understand the premise.
Yeah, it's a different age for Pixar, and it's really sad that this pandemic has this studio that was always a game in the animation film and always hit it out of the park. Sometimes absolute home runs with what they're doing. They're always deep rooted emotional films. It seems like it's just kind of fizzling out. It's very strange. I'm very, very sad to see Pixar kind of stagnant in this position, because remember, Pixar is its own studio that is run by Disney, just like Lucasfilm is its own studio run by Disney, and Marvel is its own studio that is run by Disney. Pixar is not Disney Animation. Pixar is its own studio. So if something happened to Pixar as Pixar films go, Pixar could fizzle away. Pixar could go out. There's a lot of money goes into Pixar, and you just go to the stores right now, and Target or Walmart or whatever. You go to the toy section. There's this toy line that's out of Pixar characters right now. That's just amazing. I mean, these action figures and these toys that they've got have just crossed the whole board of Pixar. It's so warming to see them on the toy shelves, but nobody knows these three movies, and that's the last three movies that they've had in the last 2 years have just kind of just fizzled out. And there's more to come. They're doing really, really, not only in a pandemic, just putting their films straight.
Keep talking, Michael.
They're also um, just creating, just picking really, really strange left field kind of stories to tell that are not typical Pixar kind of fashion. However, we are getting the prequel to Toy Story next. That's the next film. So it's Buzz Lightyear's origin story. So Pixar's gone back to a little bit of the roots. So that will be interesting to see. And then the next one after that is a film going to be called something Red or something or other. It's about this monster, this anger, this angry thing. I think very strange. But what I did hear that, and it makes sense for these films that just came out, is Pixar is doing something unique culturally. They said they want to do culturally different films and make sure that the filmmakers from that region are the filmmakers that do the story. So like Luca was takes place in Italy. There was all Italian, filmmakers that did it, and you had this another one that's coming up is from I forget Korea or some places. All those filmmakers are doing it. So they're really, really reaching. And then Encanto and Raya was kind of the same way. They're very culturally appropriate there. So Disney's really testing the waters and Pixar out that way. So we'll see what becomes of it. I just think it's sad that Pixar's not the big blockbusters that it is because they're not even giving them a chance. They're not even head to the theater now. So
it's like they're not even putting
times are different.
I know.
Very, very different. And then that leaves us with our final 4 of the 5, because like I said, we won't be going over Flea. But the final film is Mitchells versus the Machines. And we just watched I'm not even done with it yet. But we literally just watched this today. And this is a film by Lord and Miller, who are the same filmmakers who did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. They also did the Han Solo movie. But they become Sony darlings ever since they won the Oscar for Spider-Man. And they're Sony animation gods now. This film plays very similar to that Spider-Man film. It's the same type of really in-your-face animation, different animation styles, all kind of happening all at once. Meaning, it's very difficult to do that. As far as you're doing, real animation. There's a lot of. It's a fast film. It's very, very, very fast-paced. The special effects around are the techniques around it are really why the film kind of exists. It's like, let's show all these crazy animation techniques, going left and right, with real people in it occasionally pop up, and real pictures and real explosions, and yet different animation styles. It's meant to be it's all about the technique. Is what it's about, and it's a typical family drama about family that has one of the kids dynamic. Is kind of an outcast, kind of wants to go on their own way, and the family kind of is resisting that. They want their little girl back, and they go on this adventure and save the world, and the family's going to get closer.
They go on this adventure because she's getting ready to go to college.
I can hear you.
Yeah, she's getting ready to go to college. Oh, great. You guys can't hear me at all, can you? Nope. That means I'm going to have... Yeah, that means I'm going to have to come back in. All right, here we go.
Hello. I don't know if anybody still in the comments says, can you hear me? Can you hear Dawn? Can you hear any of us?
I don't know. We're going to find out here in a minute.
I can't hear Dawn now.
Great. Okay.
So I'm not sure if you guys out there can hear me. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Number 1.
I don't know. Let me, because I can hear you.
It's a family drama. We've gone quiet. Coda will watch. This is our Jeff segment. We're going to talk about Coda now. I'm just kidding. Anybody know sign language? I don't know. We're having technical problems.
We're having technical.
That's about a wrap anyway. Mitchell and the Machines, does it have a chance to win? Not maybe. It's different enough. They love Lord and Miller, the Academy, so possibly. I do think that this category is a wash because I think Flea is going to take it anyway. Flea is just really quick. Flea is a story of a guy from the Middle East, a gay man from the Middle East who flees the Middle East, to escape persecution and stuff. Persecution. It uses many different animation styles, and it's a real story. It's a documentary. It looks very powerful, very emotional, and very different than these Disney films. So we'll talk about that when we get into documentaries. But on that note, and on can't hear Dom. She says bye. Bye. We're gonna go now, folks. Maybe we'll be better tomorrow or next day or whenever the hell we do this again. Bye. I love you. Smell your feet.